Well, okay, welcome back to another records unboxing already on this, the real Liberation Day. Um, anyway, look, this one's not as big as you can see as the last ones, but it is me old mate's Dusty Groove again. Yeah, I know. Some would say it's an unhealthy addiction. Yeah, I'd say it's a healthy one. So, yeah, we know the deal. Let's crack on in and get this one underway. Well, all right. So here we go. Just trying to see. Oh, actually put a. Oh, good. An anti-spoiler piece of cardboard on top. They they're probably responding to my request, so I don't do spoilers. Thank you, DG. I just don't know what's underneath this. They usually put the paper, the shredded, recycled cardboardy paper. So I'm just going to lift this up. Oh no, there isn't any under there. So, without further ado, I'm going to crack on in and try to remember what it. Well, I don't have to remember. It's going to remind me. Alrighty, first up. Oh yeah, I've had this one on my list for a long time. I almost bought it before, but the condition was never right, and this price is not too bad. This one I've got a ton of this artist's records. I think there's probably maybe one or two more I want on his list, but this is a slightly early one. I think this is about 1968, possibly even earlier. But this is the electrifying Eddie Harris. Yeah, so we'll see if it's 1968, but that's just what my brain is trying to tell me here. Let's see. So no, $10 US, very good plus, which was nice. This one I believe is during the time when he was either starting or continuing to use the baritone effect on his saxophone, where he was getting paid, I suppose, by Veritone a bit of, royalty or publicity or whatever, kickback there to publicise the use of the Veritone sound, which, look, I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of. It sounds a bit thin and reedy, or, not reedy as in a saxophone reedy, but, I suppose reedy. There's the back here. Yeah, just a tiny bit of writing there. I can live with that. Thanks, Delmar. Delmar, is that one word? Or is it a bit of a space? Delmar, oh, it's probably one word. Delmar. Anyway, you can see it's on Atlantic there, which was the home for Eddie Harris for a long time. And we'll just come and have a squeeze down. Yeah, there you go, 1968. So yeah, the well-known theme "In Search of a Movie" and "Listen Here" is on there. By the Eddie Harris one is "Listen Here." Charles Stepney, did "Theme in Search of a Movie." There you go. And we've also got, just trying to get that out. Melvin Jackson's Judy's theme. So Melvin Jackson will be on bass then, I take it, as he was around this time. Yeah, there you go, Melvin Jackson bass. And around the time he had his Funky Skull LP. We got Ray Barretto on Latin percussion, not just percussion, Latin percussion. Thanks for that distinguishing descriptor there. But yeah, and yeah, most of the other side two is all Eddie Harris stuff. So yeah, this should be a nice one. Did I see a bullet hole? Or was I just seeing things in my head? Seeing things in my head. So yeah, it's always nice to have some Eddie Harris. To be quite honest, as I said, I could do without the Veritone. I think it thins out the sound too much of the saxophone. But that was the gimmick at the time. That was them experimenting with, stretching the sound or modifying sounds. It almost synthesizes it, I suppose, in a way, like the live. He's obviously playing it live, but it's like a guitar pedal effect, really. but I just don't think it's always successful. Was there any, I don't know, was there anything on there about the Veritone? I cannot see. I'm not going to spend forever on that, but there might be something in there I can't really see in there. We'll find out. But as I said, I wouldn't be surprised if it is. And especially with the title, the Electrify, maybe that's the little, hint at there's a bit of electronic manipulation here, as well as being him being very exciting and, creating, the atmosphere. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. There we go. That was good value. And nice to have that finally in my collection. All right, the next one is an upgrade. I have been upgrading some of this gentleman's LPs lately, particularly just two of them that I bought years ago, really cheap at a flea market, and they weren't in great nick then, but I was very excited to buy them, 25 or so years ago. And I've been wanting to upgrade since, and this one, though, the upgrade, I had an Australian version that was pretty beat up in a way, and this one is OG US version, and that is Isaac Hayes To Be Continued. And that's looking very nice there, in very good plus condition. So, yeah, I need to revisit this. And to be honest, this gives me a really nice excuse to revisit this LP. I cleaned up my other one. It wasn't too bad, but, I wanted a nice one, a cleaner version that wouldn't distract me from the music. And again, this is when Isaac Hayes, is still stretching out in the early 70s with the longer tracks, and you can see that there with the Look of Love cover going for 11:11, which is the longest, and You've Lost That Loving Feeling for 8:58. A couple other shorter tracks there, but it is the the monologue Ike's rap one, and so you can see there with being number one and Ike's Mood one. This is early on. I'm trying to remember what year this one. I think it's might be 70, 71. Is it going to show me a year? There we go on the Enterprise subsidiary of Stax. Basically for Isaac Hayes, Enterprise Records. I just cannot see the year on there, but I'll flash it up. Maybe I'll put it up above Isaac's head there right about now. Okay. All right. So yeah, that's an upgrade. Cost. Yeah. So $8 US plus some post to upgrade it. I think that's fair for an older school Isaac Hayes. In his prime record, and yeah, I believe this would be, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is pre-shaft, just pre. Yeah, so that's very nice. Okay, next up, this one, look, I did a bit of compromise on this one, but to get some great value, to be honest. This one cost me 10 US, but it's a 2 LP, and it's one of these later, well, kind of compilation, I'd say, but it's not really like a mishmash compilation one. It's a twofer, if that makes it, two legit separate albums packaged together. And for very good reason, I got this, because it's Lee Morgan. And they're calling it Two Sides of Lee Morgan. So obviously this is not the OG. This is on Trip, which I believe did a lot of the 70s reissues. And they do a good job. I've got a couple of Trip records, particularly of like Clifford Brown and Max Roach, that sort of stuff. But the reason why this one in particular is because it's got, firstly, it's got Expedient. I think that's how you say it, or Expedient. I'm going to be honest, but yeah, that's an earlier LP of his. But then it's got The Young Lions, which I think is not technically just credited to him. So they're crediting to him now, but at the time, I think it was just credited to the Young Lions, which had a number of different artists on. And if we just look down here, I'm just trying to see which one's which, because I don't think it's kind of telling me here. I can't remember. Sorry, that's a bit shiny, so I just might take this out, because it is a gatefold too. Well, it's not a gatefold, it's just fat because it had 2 records in there, so that's okay. And I'm just going to look down here, because it's got the personnel down here for both of the records. And record 1 will be the Lee Morgan Exuberant LP. That's credited to him. So we've got Clifford Jordan on tenor on that one, and Eddie Higgins piano, Art Davis bass, and Art Blakey, wow, on drums. Whereas the Young Lions one is obviously Lee Morgan, but then we've got Wayne Shorter on tenor. That's cool. Frank Strozier, I don't know him on alto, to be honest, but we've got Bob Crenshaw on bass, Bobby Timmons on piano, and then we've got both Ernie Hayes and Albert Tootie Heath, minus the Tootie part, on drums. So there's some really good cracking value with those players. But as a twofer, and as that really cracking price of, what did I say? It was like $10. So $5 a piece. US. What do you? Yeah, I'm not gonna say no to that. And it's a lot cheaper anyway than buying the OGs from what I've seen. And it is, didn't catch the first one, Very Good Plus. So even in the Very Good Plus, it's just probably 70s piece of output, but meh, I don't care. I own it now. Yanus. All right. Thanks, Lee. And the Young Lions. Next up. Ooh, yeah, I forgot about this. This has not been high on my list, to be honest. Not that high. It's kind of been there. Like, maybe one day if it's a reasonable price. But getting down to it, I thought, okay, it's time to snap this up once I saw it. Sure, I would have preferred it was a little bit cheaper. But again, being that it's in Very Good Plus condition, I thought, well, that's at least it's going to be, really, that's really, really good. So I thought, well, that will be worth the cash, I'm sure, in some way. And I do have, this is kind of like a sequel, because it's a soundtrack to a movie. And it's the sequel. I think this is about 1976, maybe 77. It is on the Curtum label because it's really a Curtis Mayfield production with Mavis Staples really on the headline there, on the banner. And you can see, though, it says original soundtrack music written and produced by Curtis Mayfield, but performed by Mavis Staples. So really, it's kind of a Curtis Mayfield LP as well as a Mavis Staples one. And that's for the film A Piece of the Action. And promo. So it's not for sale, so they should have given it to me for free and not the $10 US price. But hey, it looks in really good nick there, even in the cover. Just a small little creasy down there. But hey, Mavis smiling on the front. Slightest bit of wear there. And obviously this has got Sidney Poitier and and someone else. And then the late great James Earl Jones as well. So we look down. 1977. There you go. So it's getting later in the Curtin run, but Curtis Mayfield is all over this sucker. So yeah, I've got the first LP. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's in my head. I can see it. And it had Mr. Dynamite in that one as well, I believe, in the first one. Oh, what's it called? Anyway, I'll flash it up. Yeah. So look, Pigeon Pan now. I don't know how good quality this is going to be for 1977. But Mavis Staples is a hell of a singer. It was, breaking even more from just the Staples Singers thing and the Stax thing by this time, where Stax had basically folded. Working with Curtis Mayfield, yay, and on Curtin and promo, yay. So there's lots of reasons to put your thumb up for this, but we'll see. We'll see how quality the actual music is too. I'm sure there's going to be some value there. There might be some schmaltz there because it is a soundtrack too. So yeah, it might not be the most consistent. Next up, all right, just when you thought I had enough from this artist, another one came up, and it's on Prestige. So, and it's early 70s, 1973. So, and the price was decent and the condition was very good. Plus, so I couldn't pass up all those factors plus the artist, Gene Ammons, Got My Own. Now, I believe some of this, though, is a little bit more slower tempo. Oh, stay. Slower tempo. Again, only about 2 years before his death. In a very sort of stuck illustration cover. I kind of like that, but it's got a different feel there. Look, bit of aging there, but I don't care because it's got bam the Prestige logo, and it's 1973. Let's check it. Oh, and yeah, as I said, very good plus. So, but very minimal, isn't it? I mean, that's a lot of wasted space, or as we say in the art world, negative space. All right, but anyway, so yeah, it's not much here, but we do have some covers here. So that's what I mean. This is a bit of a different feel album. Lady Sings the Blues. Like interesting, hey. And God Bless the Child again. Often see that song come up. Strange Fruit as well. So, a bit of a different feel here. But we also got a version of Ben, which is good news. So the two of us shall look no more. But also the personnel I checked out beforehand, and they're quite interesting. Even though this stuff is a little bit more, I think, mellow or lower tempo, rather than sort of up a tempo, sort of funky soul jazz. Because you can see there we've got Joe Beck on guitar. Yeah, Hank Jones on the electric piano, so that's nice to have some electric piano at this time. Ron Carter, bass and electric bass. He's succumbed to some electric bass. Well, he's stretching out, I suppose. And look, Idris is on drums. So see, but yeah, it's nice to see they're doing this differently. And then if you look at the other ones, though, there's still stellar lineup here. Look, Joe Beck again. That's Ernest Hayes again. Hank Jones, electric piano. Ron Carter again. Mickey Roker, who's, tight and funky on drums. But it's saying fine and mellow, so we'll see what he busts out there. On another two tracks, though, we've got Maynard Parker on guitar. Sonny Phillips, awesome, on electric piano. Ron again. And then Billy Cobham on drums. So, we're spoiled for drummers on this one, aren't we? And Strange Fruit, they've really stripped it back, though. Just with the electric piano, sort of updating with Hank Jones again. And then Ron again, bass and electric bass. So, that's interesting, doing two bass. I'm going to assume two bass tracks at the same time. But anyway. It was actually recorded in late 72 and then early 73. So, it's technically a 72 album. So, yeah, more awesome era Gene Ammons on Prestige in very good plus condition. So, yay, hey, for $9 US plus post. Alrighty, let's kick along. Next one. Now, this one is very left of center. This one might question people, what the hell? Why'd you buy that? Well, the answer is I've got the first LP and I like it. I've had it for years, got it for a great price. They're one of these bands that their albums, especially the early ones, still commands a bit of a price usually. And I've kind of been after this one just to see the follow-up. This is the second album. Sophomore, for you North Americans playing at home. Yeah, and, you know, for some people, they say, you know, I've seen reviews where they say, well, this is even better than the first one. So, yeah, I'll have a bit of that. And there's, I think, a couple of tracks in here that are actually quite well known, especially from back in the day. And we are definitely going, well, maybe not as far back as the last one, but for this band, and that is the B-52's Wild Planet. Because, look, you don't see that every day in Australia, and if you do, they'll charge you more than this. It's also in very good plus condition. $12 USA, a tiny little bit more, but it's not exorbitant. But yeah, and you can see there very early, because we've still got the Beehive. We've still got the guitarist is, wait, I forget which one, it might be him. It's still alive because he died a few years later. So the OG guitarist is still there. And the songs, I think the one, you know, like Private Idaho, and I think it's Quiche Lorraine might be the one, it might be the known ones. But I'm really interested to hear this. And I'm going to be honest, for years, I've held off listening to this, streaming it, purely because I just wanted to be surprised by something a bit left field here. So, yeah, as I said, I really like the first album. It's really fun. It was a bit different for the time. Sure, Fred Schneider's voice can get a bit much after a while. And his singing is like kind of this. So, yeah, you know, that. But look, if you just take it as fun, then, you know, it should be all right. So, yeah, this is definitely got to be 1980 from my recollection. Let's have a look. Yep, there it is. So I'm pretty sure the first one was like 79. It might have been on the cusp or somewhere around there, with Rock Lobster, etc. So, yeah, this is looking like it's in nice condition. I don't know if it's an OG because it's got a barcode, but once again, I really don't care because condition is everything. On the Warner B label. Yeah. So let's see how wild their planet is for that price. Bit of a curiosity. Next one. Look, this one I finally, as they say, bit the bullet. Paid up on it because I've just been trying to find an opportunity to find this cheaper as a reissue because it's, you know, loads new. Original. My bad. But I have found it has technically come down in price over the last few years, but not as much as I would have liked. But I kind of went, hey, I'm going to have to pay up soon or I'll probably never see it. And then they'll start overcharging. Now, this is a bit of a obscure, I think more of an indie kind of release from back in the day, mid-70s, around about 1976. But this one might be I think it's a Japanese reissue. And that is Tomorrow's People by Open Soul. Now, I do have a kind of obi here, as you can see, so true to Japanese. Whoa! That's not good. It's all right. You can call off the emergency services. She's all good. Yeah, and lucky she was holding on to her bits, and then, yeah, she's fine. Yeah, that was not good. Anyway, look, you can see the price there, $32 US. So, look, I did pay for this one. But I'm just really banging on the fact that this will be worth it. It's on the P-Vine, reissue label, but they have kept the OG artwork, which is really nice. So let's have a crack and look at the back. So a bit of just a typed up spiel from back in the day. Yeah. And so, I know a little bit of a spiel about Tomorrow's People. Let's see, there's 5 tracks. Look, they're pretty short, so hopefully they got my money's worth there. With that, again, oh no, sorry, my bad. Those ones are, yeah, here we go, sorry. Sometimes it's hard reading through this camera anyway. Yeah, side 2's got a 20-minute, little bit plus track, Open Soul, and that's the money shot. That's right. I just forgot all about that. Yeah, so I like how they've kept it OG there. Let's just have a squizzy down here because I think it's about 70. Yeah, there you go. I don't know if you can see that because it's a bit out of focus for me and my eyes. 1976. Yeah, and the reissue was 2024. So yeah, as I said, pretty recent. And as I said, it's getting, a year or so after. I think it's been reissued a couple of times, but I just didn't want to push it too far. Now it's come kind of down in price. Yeah, it's a gamble. It might come down even further, but hey, it's sort of like reissue of rare stuff here, and a really lovely cover. Okay, that's nice. Anyway, next up, what do I have here? All right, this one is a little bit later in this awesome artist's run. It's not the OG label, so he's not on, I think Blue Note he was originally, had his run on. So yeah, we're getting late 70s here, 1978. But look, it's still Lonnie Smith. And he's got me because it's called Gotcha. Gotcha. No. $10, near it minus though. So, it's like practically brand new except for where the last owner got hungry or had the munchies or something and tried to eat it. Yeah, so look, obviously this is going to be a bit more late 70s, probably clubby funk styling sort of thing. Hopefully not too disco-y, but hey, for Mr. Lonnie Smith there, look at that. That's nice. Yeah, I had to go on Reputation here, and I did not listen to this. I just went, okay, Reputation, Lonnie Smith, not too expensive. Let's get in. Because sometimes, I know it's post-75, but sometimes you get some nice value because these artists have got great sensibility, but they're still surviving post-75 in the disco clubby era. I'm just trying to see their bass. Neil Jason, I believe, was just, I forget which album he just would have debuted on. I forget, it might have been like a Bob James or something around there. I do remember seeing his name, but he was quite new to the recording world. Jay Berliner, I've seen a fair bit of around that time. I'm just trying to see that there's not a lot of the other really high name people that I can see. Oh, Korg synthesizer, so at least there's some nice analog synth going on there, which should be fun, hopefully. But yeah, 78, as you can see there, TK Productions, but the label says LC, it's the Leicester Radio Corporation, yeah. I've got maybe 1 or 2 LPs from Leicester Radio. It might have been like Jimmy McGriff, maybe, someone like that was on there. I'm not sure if that's looks like a bit of a punch out bullet hole there. And he's just a little bit luckier than Trump because it just missed him altogether. Didn't even get his ear. Oh no, wait, sorry. Something got him here. Just above the eyebrow. So maybe he's not as lucky there. That might be a little cut out, but I don't see. Then the punch out should be coming through here. Maybe it didn't take and they had to do it again. It was a second shot at him because yeah, that should be there. Let's try to hold with it. Just for interest's sake, that's really interesting. Unless it should be about there. All right, but anyway, look, not his most known album at all. Later, but yeah, near mint minus too. So Smashing. All right, speaking of smashing, let's smash along. The next one is a fairly known album from about 62, maybe 63, so a bit earlier for this guy in terms of the LPs I have of his, which are more late 60s, early 70s. But nevertheless, I think this is a bit of a cracker and a fairly highly regarded LP. And it is on Prestige. Yeah, hey. And that is Brother Jack McDuff live. Just in case you didn't get that. Brother Jack McDuff live. In massive letters. Now, I do believe that there are some different issues of this with different color lettering here. This one's stereo, so maybe if it's not stereo, I don't know. Definitely stereo, which I like. Let's have a crack and look on the back. See if we can see a year. But as I said, I think it's about 62, 63. We'll hopefully find out. But yeah, Prestige, here we go. We've got Jack McDuff, Red Holloway, George Benson. That's right, early George Benson. That's right. This is where he is really young and first cracking out because, yeah, he played with Jack McDuff first. So that makes absolute sense. Joe Dukes, I'm not so sure. Doesn't ring a bell. But yeah, so this is also cool in the fact, yeah, it's early George Benson. It is recorded live, as the title suggests there, at the front room. Ooh, they get the front room, not the back room or even the middle room there, right at the front in Newark, New Jersey. So, I just can't see a year. So again, I'll be making sure this is a nice space here. I'll probably put it up about here, the year, just to confirm. But yeah, anyway, what do we got on here? We've got a version of It Ain't Necessarily So. Which will be a cover, obviously. Whistle While You Work, which you would know. For all you Disney fans. And that's Sanctified Samba, not Simba, for all you Disney fans. Rock Candy, that sounds good. But I think I had a little bit of listen there. So there's some nice stuff on here, even though it's early 60s Prestige, but I think there's starting to get some sock and soul flavor in there, jazz soul. So, live. And again, look at that, near mint minus. Even if it is a later pressing, it looks really schmick. Sweetness. Okay, let's kick along. All right, the next one. The next one I finally pulled the trigger on. I was waiting to get it cheaper. It's never happening. Well, if it is, I'm missing it. Look, I do have some of these songs on a best of, a legitimate best of. But it's about time I got all of them in context. And that is Donald Byrd's Stepping Into Tomorrow on Blue Note, produced by Mizell Brothers here. Now, look, I paid the 26 US. It is 180 grams, so that's nice. It is got the Blue Note, or has the Blue Note, sorry, I should say. Seal of approval there that it's a Blue Note affiliated reissue now. Be on UME though, obviously, but you know. So look, I had to pay for it it's the classic vinyl series one there, as you can see, which I've got a fair few of now. I just hope, and I'm probably going to be wrong, because I don't know how long this one's been out for. I just hope they put it in a bloody plastic lined sleeve. Please, UME. I'm not going to say Blue Note because this is UME. It is made in Germany, so you know, usually the German stuff's good or very good. Das ist gut, yeah. But I just have found sometimes they wreck it by putting in a bloody paper sleeve only, and you get it, and you've paid the price, and it's Scuff City. So I will find out, but you can see there. Oh, well, there you go, 1975. Okay, 75. the best year it could have been made, obviously. We all know that. But there, it's saying 2025 version of this. And I know a lot of these companies now are starting to go, oh, well, maybe we should like line these in plastic, even if it's paper and plastic even if it's cheap, it will still be better than not doing it because it's wrecking the record. So fingers are crossed the best they can that they have succumbed to the demands of that, put in plastic and saved the lovely vinyl. With obviously stepping into tomorrow, and Think Twice is another one I've got. It's my finger there. I might have one or two other. I can't remember which ones I would have, but definitely got Think Twice and Stepping Into Tomorrow. So it's nice to get the other ones I don't have for classic mid-70s Blue Note, Mazel Brothers era. And you can see there, Don calling himself Kajuka. But that doesn't say a lot else on here, does it? And it's definitely not gatefold, especially for 75 Blue Note. With the 70s Blue Note logo there. But yeah, look, I felt compelled to finally just do it. Just like, yeah, right, I'm not going to save. And I've still got to get Places and Spaces from around about the same time, 75, 76, to complete that run for me, the 70s sort of run of Donald Byrd. So finally got that. Next up, I've seen this every now and again, this one. I've got a few from this artist. Sometimes he's a bit hit and miss inconsistent, but that's okay. And particularly when you get a title like this LP, and I believe this is from the late 60s, maybe possibly very early 70s, as in 1970. It's on Atlantic, and that is The Diverse Yusef Lateef. Very memorable cover, because I've definitely seen this cover a lot, and it really stays in your brain when you see that. Cool little fragmented portrait sort of thing. Now, good news about this one, near mint minus, yay. Now, I did pay the 17 US, but it is near mint minus. And I think it's one of the more highly regarded sort of this era Yusef Lateef stuff. There is the other one, Sweet 16. I don't have yet, but again, it's a bit inconsistent. It's on my list, but not high. This one I think was a bit higher. I haven't listened to it for a long time. I'm pretty sure I listened to it, like streamed it back in the D, but I've forgotten, which is kind of nice. It means it'll be a nice surprise. Yeah, there's a little bit of marks in it, but I think that's pencil anyway. So if I really wanted to give it a light rub out, I would. Look, 4 long tracks, longish tracks. Live Humble. And again, if we look at the people on there, while I'm just here, Richard T on piano, Chuck Rainey on bass, Cecil McBee, acoustic bass, Ray Barretto on conga, Bernard Purdy on drums. Damn! So, I've just got my money. Right there. Got my money there. You can see there some similar people on the next one with some different instrumentation. So some more world music instrumentation. And let's have a look down here. Oh, Roy Brooks on drums there. Cecil was McBee still on the bass. And then we come down here. Who we got on this one? Piano. Roy Brooks again. Okay, so a bit of a mixture of people. So it might be, again, that's why it's diverse. Coming down to here, you can see the 1970 on Atlantic. Yeah, so it's nice to have another Yusef Lateef to open my ears to in the collection, especially at Near Mint Minus. Should be a nice experience. Cracking along. Alright, so this one. Now, I've been trying to get some of the earlier stuff of this artist, but it's quite pricey. in it. It's a bit pricey. So, you know, this one is a bit later in the run, but again, I went, well, I'm just going to still snap it up while it's there for about, I think, 1976, maybe 75, somewhere around there. I might be wrong, but that is Blue Mitchell's Function Junction. Function Junction, it's got to be mid-70s. Sorry, I can't remember the exact date. Might even be slightly later. Might be 77. I don't know. Near mint minus though. Near mint minus. $12. So yeah, it's practically brand new. Look, there might be a reason for that because it's not his earliest stuff. There's a few, as I said, earlier 70s ones I want, and I've got one or two of his, which are nice. But look, couldn't pass it up. Saw it and I went, yeah, go for it. Give it a crack. So I haven't listened to this. Yeah, and you can see it's sort of very mid-70s, even a bit later sort of artwork there. Hopefully we'll find a year amongst the stuff. But you will see there in gold, demonstration, it's a promo. And they broke the rule and sold it to me. Now I'm trying to see under there, because it's going to be hard through the video. David T. Walker on guitars. Harold Land. Lovely. Actually, I'm just going to take this slightly out. Just because sometimes I find, my bad here, it just, I'm going to take it totally out. It just sometimes focuses better without the plastic. Okay, let's have a look there. So, yeah, we've got David T. Walker. I'm trying to see, is that James Gadsden on drums there? Is that Gary Coleman on sax? I take it. Oh no, it's percussion. My bad. Yeah, so there's some pretty well-known people there. Unfortunately, a bit of a split scratch there or whatever across the others. But I'm going to guess that John there is John Faddis, who was all over everything as a studio musician. Yeah. So anyway, the tracks I can't really tell you much about, but with, you know, names like I'm in Heaven and, you know, Love Machine, I'm going to, yeah, as I said, it's more mid to late 70s. And I'm just going to see that this is fine print. It is. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that because I'm having a hard time. 76. Yeah. So 1976. So I'm not expecting too much. Oh, look, a bit of Paddy Austin, though. And Gwen Guthrie, billed as Gwendolyn Guthrie. There you go. Oh, there's John Faddis there. So I was right there. So that just focused there. Wouldn't it focus here? Probably not, because it's just so... sort of. Anywho, Function Junction. Notice the spelling of function. Yeah. So yeah, just post 76. We'll see. Thank you, Mr. Mitchell, who is not very happy. And speaking of which, look, let's just crack on into it. Here's another one. This one, African Violet. The mint minus, except with a bit of scribble ribble over there. I have no idea what that is, but that does not look like Blue Mitchell's signature. Look, I'm just going to live with that scribble there. That you will notice again under here. Oops. Demonstration promo again. So I'm going to assume this came as a batch because I got them at the same time. So someone's got rid of them at the same time. This one was a little bit more, 15, but still near mint minus. Yay, hey. Let's crack on in and have a look here. But I think this one might be, I'm pretty sure this might be the year after that one, or the next LP. So again, you know, I'm kind of testing the waters here, pushing the envelope with the post 77 Blue Mitchell. Look, again, I'm going to take this out of the plastic because it'll make Your life and mine better. Again, we've got some scribbly bibbly on there. People. That's what paper is for, a notebook. And or a subway wall. A train station. All right, here we go. Let's have a look. So, yeah, there's some usual suspects on here already. Sonny Burke, Lee Rittenhouse this time. James Gadsden is there. Yeah, Paulina de Costa. Harold Land again. Very nice. I was just going down. Let's see, got anyone else there I'm trying to pick up? No, Mr. Gadsden again. Julia Tillman I've seen before. Thanks, Pepsi, for the barking interludes there. No more James Gadsden. Oh, Eddie Bongo Brown there on percussion. So, yeah, lots of these usual suspects popping up again. Sorry, it's just very hard to read this one because there's people's names all over the place. But anyway, now we're going down here. Yeah, okay, there you go. 1977. This one's on ABC Impulse. So, yeah, post Blue Note. Which is interesting because the last one I just showed you was on RCA Records the year before. So he's jumped around record labels there. So maybe they're shopping him around to try to get a hit or something. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if it really happened because that stuff's not really that well known to me. I might be wrong. Might have been biggish then, but you know, in terms of my radar for the last 30 years, it really wasn't on there and doesn't seem to pop up. But anyway, moving on. Next one. Look, next one I got because it's pretty inexpensive. Again, it's a bit later in the run, but also this will tie in with one I talked about earlier for sure when you see it, and that is Staples Pass It On. Formerly the property of WGGL FM, the home of secondhand records. No, there is a bit of a cut out there, but nothing too heinous. You can see they're $6, but near mint minus. Look, this is post Stax, obviously Staples, but again, like the Mavis Staple one I showed you before, I believe this has got Curtis Mayfield all over it, except for the cover. Let me have a look at the back here. And I believe this is nearly the same time. I think this is about 76. And look, you'll see the Curtin family here and connections. We've got Richard Tufo on keyboards. And we've got Master Henry Gibson on congas and bongos. So we've got that connection there. But we've also got Mr. Phil Upchurch, who's not usually associated with Curtin, but that's nice. He's on there. So yeah, and we've got these lovely mid-70s suits looking fine. And Pops has a sore foot, unfortunately, or he's got some, arthritic ailments or something. Let's have a look down here. There's the Curtis Mayfield there. Stuff written there. He wrote it. He probably produced it as well, I'd say. It's on Warner, though. It doesn't say Curtin, maybe because it was the label they were on at that time, post Stax. Manual, there we go. There we go. 1976. All right. So, look, it's not classic era Staples. But I'm sure there's still going to be some value in there for $6 US. All right, the next one I've passed up for years and years. Yeah, look, I wasn't totally ever convinced about this, but I thought now I've got all this artist's other, kudu stuff, kudu label stuff, up until the later 70s. This is just before, I think, her kudu run, around about 1970 maybe, on a different label on Atlantic. So I think the flavour is a bit different, the stylings is a bit different. from 1970 on Atlantic. But that is Esther Phillips. And that's Burnin'. Oops. Live at Freddie Jet's Pied Piper in LA. So yeah, Atlantic. There she is. Probably more R&B bluesy, so I'd say, in a way. Than the funkier stuff on Kudu. But hey, you know, her in a distinct voice. So you can see by the headlines there, we got blues everywhere, blues, you know. Whoops. So it's probably going to give you a little hint at the stylings here. And there's a number of cover songs here. Oh, look, there's a Beatles cover song, and I love him. It's a Grime Me a River Blues. Release Me. Let Me Go. Making Whoopee. Yeah. So anyway. And there she is doing her thing. Young Old Timers. Anyway. With George Duke's special piano back. Oh, okay. Does that mean George Duke is on here? Say what? Oh, personal. Oh, I've got Cornell Dupree. Richard T. Chuck Rainey again. See that? And Donald Bailey on drums. There we go. Let's see. So, personnel for overdub. Oh, they've done some overdubs. Okay. But yeah, anyway. So the live recordings. I don't see George Duke on there. Must be missing something. Yeah. So that will be interesting, to say the least. Oh, near mint -$6. Definitely worth the gamble there as such. Yeah. Alrighty. Next up. What do we got here? Oh, yeah. This one's kind of been on my list. Not that high. You often see it around in terms of online. I never see it in the wild in Australia. But I thought I'd take a gamble on this one. I've got a later CD by this artist, which is pretty cool. I believe this one, in terms of her earlier career, this was sort of later in her earlier career, I think mid-70s. And it's actually on Westbound. But I believe it's, yeah, on, you know, when Westbound was starting to mix things up by 1975. So this is in a bit of a different style. I think it's touted as being more of a jazzy thing. But that is Spanky Wilson, especially of the house. Just love that name, Spanky Wilson. What a great name. Look, you'll see I paid a fair bit for this one. So I am giving this a bit of a bigger gamble for Spanky. Even though it's on Westbound 1975, I know it's no mid-75 Funkadelic awesomeness. So I'm still, though, going to give it a crack for 75. Because we've got David Van Deputy. But I think he sort of turned up a more sort of almost disco, like Philly soulish stuff, didn't he? Might be wrong. So yeah, that's what I mean. This is probably a bit more of a different direction than her late 60s, early 70s sort of R&B soul-y sort of stuff. But yeah, I'm just trying to have a look through here if there's anything of real interest. Oh yeah, there's Paul Reiser as well. So yeah, look, hopefully it's got some sort of jazzy soul on here. On Westbound, it is US pressing there. It says 1974, then 75, so it must mean, yeah, release 75. Yes, and look, you can see there, she's, if you know Spanky's earlier stuff, she's got that sort of sweeter look, almost like Motown-y sort of styling. This one, she looks more sophisticated with the hairstyle there and the soft light and makeup and sort of more of a serious, you know, and even there, a bit more of a serious facial expression compared to her earlier LPs. So yeah, look, bit of a gamble there, but thought it was about time to give that one a go. And we are up to the last one, finally, in this run. It's actually a bigger run than I thought. I remembered. Yeah, this one's been on my list again for a while. Not totally high, but there to sort of start to fill up a bit of a run by this very well-known group. Look, they're not always high on my agenda. They've got some nice stuff. This is around the right time, though, and that is The Temptations' Solid Rock. Yeah, it's on Motown Gordy, sort of, well, almost subsidiary as such at the early 70s. This one's about, I think, 72. Feels pretty heavy. Oh, it's a Gatefield. Ooh. Which is very nice. So we'll just come cracking down here. Oh, there you go. Yeah, 1972. And you can see there it's got Motown written all over it anyway. And obviously, this is still Norman Whitfield thing. Oh, there he is there. So yeah, it's. I don't know if this is the last one he does with them, or it's getting around that time where it's the last one he does with them. Yeah, before, what's his name, Jeffrey Bowen takes over, I think. Look, we've got a version there again of Ain't No Sunshine, which goes for 7 minutes 10. That'll be interesting to see how they stretch that out to 7 minutes 10. So, you know, I mean, great song. We'll see about the cover. But yeah, you can see Barrett Strong, Whitfield all over the writing credits again, which was typical for that time. I think that was the better known song from this LP. I don't know if it was the single, Superstar, Remember How You Got Where You Are. I think I got that on a compilation. That says the end of our road, not the end of the road for you, Boys to Men or whatever, aficionados. It's not the same, but this will be interesting that actually, and this is odd for Motown, because they've actually listed the players. So kudos to them, because you know prior to this they wouldn't have got a mention. And you'll see there Mr. Coffey, Dennis Coffey on lead guitar, Eddie Willis again, Joe Messina. This is also Melvin and Reagan, also better known as Wawa, and Wawa Watson. Richard Allen on drums, Andrew Smith on drums. This is so cool. L. Van Dyke, Johnny Griffith, and look, we've got James Jamerson finally getting a bit of a credit there as he deserves. Jack Ashford on all the percussion stuff. And bongo and congo drums, Motown's one and only Eddie Brown. So it's the only, So isn't that cool? I think that's just, for me, as, someone who geeks out on that stuff, that's a big thing for me to see anyway. That, if you want to call them the Funk Brothers or whatever, actually got the credit. So I'm going to crack open the gatefold. Well, okay, here we go. I haven't opened it yet. So, oh, wow. That is a kaleidoscope, yes, explosion of color, isn't it? Wow, okay. For 1972. I mean, interesting. There's just two photos and, color. Yeah, so interesting. Still cool. I did expect a little bit more something in there written, but for a gatefold, some nice, fairly heavy cardboard too. So it didn't creak. Didn't have the gatefold creak, but it's in really good condition there. Just a little bit of something there, but actually, what is that? Oh no, that's just a bit of stuff. It's not. Oh, it might be from that. But anyway, it's yeah, it's pretty rock solid. No pun intended. Well, maybe. Maybe subconsciously. But yes, it's nice to get that one down in terms of early 70s Temptations. I believe I've got probably one more on my list. I want to get Sky's the Limit. Then that'll be about it for the Temptations. But anyway, there we go. Just cracking the hour mark. So thanks for bearing with me. I hope you got something out of that. I'm going to get lots out of these things, hopefully, and I'll see you next time.